Uh, hey guys.
Hey guys, happy Monday. Um, I have my jacket on, my shoes on still. I just dropped Darcy off at school, and I thought, I've had some questions of you seem very organized, you seem to knit so fast. Spill the tea was actually one of the comments in my last podcast episode. So I decided to take the opportunity, or I'm going to take the opportunity now to start a little vlog this week just so you guys can see glimpses of my kind of daily life, where and when I fit knitting in, and how I work that around my stay-at-home schedule. So this week is going to be, not as typical because my husband is going away for 2 days or 2 nights. So there's going to be a little bit of extra knitting time there, but yeah. So it's Monday. It is April 29th. Tonight happens to be the first Knots and Hops kind of knit meetup. It's at East Van Brewery tonight. I'll be heading there. Yeah, but Darcy's at school. I plan on working on some content prep for a future video. So luckily I have coffee already. My husband made me coffee before he left for work. So I'm going to sit down, have some breakfast, work on content prep for maybe about an hour, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to actually fit in knitting this morning. I have to eat a quick, like, light lunch before I pick up Darcy. And so then I will pick up Darcy, and later this afternoon is her swimming lesson, and then come home, get dressed, get ready, and go to this Knots and Hops event tonight. So that's kind of the schedule for tonight, and yeah, enjoy. Something that this lovely sunshine has reminded me that I need to do is that I have a test knit here that I finished. The deadline not till the end of May, but yeah, it's got a big gauge. It's the Cognac Cardigan, and it's got a big gauge, and so I finished it quite quickly, and I worked on this almost exclusively just to kind of like get this done because it is quite a fluffy cardigan that I don't know when I'd wear it, although we just had some cold, rainy days, so then I thought, oh, maybe it's still appropriate. But what I need to do is wash this still and sew on the buttons. But before I do that, I always like to take measurements before blocking. And that just gives me kind of an indication of, what areas do I need to be careful not to, stretch too much if there's any sort of like repositioning or stretching that needs to be done. And just to see, just for out of my own curiosity, how much the fabric grows, which I kind of already know from when I made my gauge swatch. So there really shouldn't be any big surprises, but sometimes there can be, depending on the fiber that you're using, just the sheer weight of the sweater, it's going to behave differently from a tiny little swatch. So I'm going to refer to the measurements from the pattern, and I will compare them to my post-blocking measurements as well. And then the whole pre-blocking versus post-blocking is mostly just for my curiosity. But I'll show you what I have in my notebook because I don't have anything in here that won't reveal anything. But in my notebook here, I have a little picture or a schematic that I've done, like a drawing of the cardigan, and I will have a column of pre-block measurements, and then I like to put in the middle the finished measurements as stated in the pattern, and then after blocking I'll have another column for post-block measurements or my finished measurements. And then I kind of like will highlight areas that are different and why they might be different. So why they might be different, for example, is I made the sleeves longer than what the pattern says. I didn't do that in this case. This is something that I have followed exactly as stated in the pattern. I made no modifications other than my button band, which I just made the button holes a little bit smaller because I used smaller buttons than what the pattern has. Yeah, so I will look at what measurements are given in the pattern, but I also do additional measurements just, for completeness sake. So if, for example, if a pattern only had bust and overall length, I wouldn't stop there. I do a whole lot of other measurements. So I'll show you my measurements that I do after. So the pattern is pretty good in terms of providing different kind of measurements. So I've labeled different measurements here from A to G, and those are from the pattern. So this pattern is great. Like, these are all the measurements that are provided in the schematic in the pattern. And so we have circumference, we have cross back width, which is related to where how the shoulders sit. Cardigan length, like body length. Armhole depth. We have the armhole circumference here, wrist cuff circumference, and sleeve length. And from the schematic in the pattern, it looks like sleeve length is measured from the underarm to the wrist there. So I will take those measurements now from my cardigan and then get this, give it a little bath. It's 11 o'clock now. So when I got home from dropping Darcy off at school, it was just past 9. It's now 11. 2 hours have gone by. I have not finished my computer work that I wanted to do for content prep, but I did get a lot done, so that's good. And this is something I can continue. Maybe no, today's a nuts and hops thing. So maybe tomorrow during some quiet time. I was hoping to get it all done before Wednesday because I want to sit down and record this on the Wednesday. looks like maybe I'll have to wait till Friday, which is the next day. So Darcy goes to school 3 days a week. I have not had a chance to sit down and knit, but that's okay. I'll get a little bit of knitting done at the knitting social event tonight. So it's 11 o'clock now. I do have to pick up Darcy soon-ish. So this is usually when I kind of stop what I'm doing and have a snack and kind of put together what I need to bring to pick up Darcy. So she has requested today that I bring her scooter when I pick her up. So that implies that she probably wants to stay at the park and play for a while. So that definitely means I need to eat something because we're not coming home right away to have lunch. Otherwise, I have to try to control my hunger as I'm waiting around at the park with her. And then we'll come home at whatever time, and then we have swimming. So that's kind of what typical morning it can be like while Darcy's at school, but usually it's not. I take it as a time for me. Some people, maybe some partners would say like, well, that's what you should be doing meal prep and laundry and all that. And yes, I can see that, but also I have to be selfish when I can, and I'm not saying selfish in a negative way, but I have to take care of myself. And having this time to get some of my knitting work done, my YouTube work done, allows me to be kind of less cranky later when my husband comes home from work because I'm not feeling like I didn't get a chance to have me time. I do have the luxury of being the stay-at-home parent, so I can just throw in laundry whenever. I mean, I could have had a load running this whole time, so I could do those things at the same time. But it's also just kind of my reminder to you guys, take those moments, even if they're small, to take care of yourself, mentally, physically, and yes, yeah, I am, part of a family in a relationship. The workloads are shared, but just because I'm the stay-at-home parent does not mean I don't get me time while Darcy's at school. So try to balance everything as best I can. And yes, I'm going to have my bit of a snack now, maybe do a little bit more computer work. And it is nice out, but to save time, I think I'm going to drive to pick up Darcy rather than walk. So I'll see you guys a little later, whatever time it is when we get home before we go to swim lessons later today.
Do I have macaroni to put it on? Is it dry? Wow, that's a very tilted block.
Let's go.
It's for me.
Is it for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
One, two, three, two, and see, okay?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go.
Wow. I feel exhausted today. Not that I stayed up late at the Knott's Hops East Van event last night, which went great actually. I didn't go there with any friends. I just knew that I was going to be in a safe place with fellow crafters. It was at East Van Brewing, which is a place I do like to go to. I go with my own friends. And yeah, it was about a 2-hour event, but I did stay later with some other lovely ladies, and we just kind of chatted about knitting, chatted about life. It was really great. And when I got home, I was just tired and kind of went straight to bed after. And then today has just been a day of, it's a non-school day and just keeping up with Darcy and not so much downtime, not a lot of quiet time, not as much as I wish I could have today. We went out to the dollar store, the grocery store, and just kind of one activity after another. And I'm finally getting a chance to sit here to chat, and it's 4 o'clock. So that's how the day's been, and picked an easy dinner to make. Darcy asked for spaghetti, and spaghetti to her is more like cacio e pepe style, which is with like olive oil, garlic, lots of parmesan. I like to add some sauteed mushrooms in there as well, sprinkle some parsley on there, have a side of bread. Maybe we'll open up a bottle of wine as well. Obviously not for Darcy. But yeah, so that's what today's been like. So not a whole lot of footage, but this is going to be a week-long vlog, so don't need to do a lot of filming every single day. But I did want to share a little happy mail I got. Bramble Ridge, she's having kind of like a clear out sale to make room for some new bases, some new collections that she wants to share. And so I jumped right on it. Unfortunately, the yarn that I really wanted to get, what I've been kind of holding out for, what I've always had my eye on, is her lace Siri, in particular the colorway Duck. There was only one skein available, and it's not enough. I need at least two to make a cardigan or a sweater or something with, not a lot of positive ease, just a little bit. So unfortunately, could not get my hands on some duck Surrey, but I picked some kind of like summery yarn for adding to my spring and summer queue, which was already kind of ambitious, and now it's getting to be very ambitious. So I picked up some. This is undyed. It's just the natural. This is a wool linen, 70% wool, 30% linen. It's just a very natural, warm color. You can see it against this off-white color of my Hannah cardigan. I was kind of hoping it'd be a little bit more white, but that's okay because I think it'll look really well with my tan still. And I didn't want it to be bright white for sure. Like, don't want that. But it's really nice, natural. You can see like bits of, the linen that's going through there, a little bit of some organic matter we have here. That is okay. That doesn't bother me. I pick it out as I go. But the plans for this one is the Poet Top by Sari Nordlund. I don't do much lace at all. I don't think I have completed any sort of lace project, but that one, the kind of square neckline, simple straps, yeah, is something that I would like to add to my wardrobe. So the Poet Top. And then I got this very nice bright blue. The colorway is called Lapis. This is the high twist sock base, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And it's just this really bright blue. You can almost call it cobalt blue. 2 skeins this. Hopefully should be enough for sea salt tea. The pattern's from Atelier Castin Marine. I just finished the test knit, or my test knit, for her cognac cardigan. Sorry, I'm like stumbling. I can hear a leaf blower outside. Hopefully that's not too distracting, because it's not really distracting me. So that test is still ongoing, but I did join up. She's doing a sea salt tea so I'm going to use this. I was kind of thinking of doing a scrappy tee version, initially going through some of my Sunday scraps, but I decided that I don't think I'd actually wear it. I would enjoy knitting a scrappy tee, but I don't think I would wear it as much. So I picked this up because this blue, I think it looks really well with my skin tone, and it's, opposite my eye color. I've got kind of this like yellowy brown or honey brown eyes color, so I think that works well. And I was just thinking bright blue would be nice for spring, summer. And the last thing I picked up is two skeins, same base as the blue yarn, but in the color Hot Coral. This is, yeah, coral, hot, bright. And this one, I don't think I actually needed two skeins, but I grabbed two just in case. And this is for a mini mock neck tank. I've made one before last summer. I made one in green, but I made it a bit too short. So that's why I purchased a second skein, because I did use up one. But the skein I used was a slightly lighter fingering. So just to be safe, picked up two. And yeah, again, I'm just picturing this with some ripped light denim, some sneakers, wearing this at a brewery or just anywhere really. But adding some more bright colors to my life. I'm really feeling the colors other than green. I did not buy a single green skein. Look at me go, guys. Last night at the knitting event, I thought it was kind of funny because I was wearing my camisole number 9, which is like an olive green, but like bright green. And then I was working on my glow room cardigan, so it was kind of matchy-matchy. A puzzle? Sure, I'll be right on just a minute, okay? But yeah, so soon it will be time to have snack, maybe light snack, dinner, and then what day is today? Tuesday. Oh, the Canucks are playing, I believe. So hockey tonight, which means we all get to sit on the couch, watch hockey, and get to knit. And then I get to knit more once Darcy goes to bed. So yes, I like hockey days because I usually can fit in some extra knitting. And yeah, then they're just chill. You want some more toast? That's what you want for your snack? It's toast? Okay, we can do that. How about some crackers and cheese, maybe?
Yes, too.
All right. Princess. Do you want to say Happy Tuesday? See you later?
Happy Tuesday. See you later.
See you guys later.
Hey guys. I'm just learning about something. The eraser and this is coming today. Heavier than a bunny. A heavier bunny is than a water drip thinner or
Put your hair on there. Just hold it there. There you go. That's better.
heavier than a water drip, heavier than and heavier than. Let me talk to it by myself.
Okay.
Okay. Now for my next book is heavier than a rainbow, and the water drip in the baby bunny is a good story. And heavier than else is the tree, than the mountain, than the sun, or the moon, or the night. Well, sometimes I get a little bit bossy or sad or hotter.
So you get fussy, sad, or hot?
Yeah.
Here, you have to stop. That adds extra noise.
Well, guys, I just want you to okay, Mom. I have a good another story for you that's happier than a mommy bunny, than happier than a.
Don't touch that part. Just hold
Then happier than the sassy bird and happier than the mommy bunny, then the water drip and the rainfall, and the trees and the sun and the night, and the buildings, and the sign.
Are you just listing off things that are heavy?
Yes. I do like this.
That's a clip.
Well, I just want you to do something, okay?
You want me to do something?
Yes.
Okay.
Talk.
Okay. Hi, Darcy. Is this an interview?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so if this is an interview, who's asking questions?
Tina.
Tina. What is Tina asking?
Her voice is worse.
Her voice is really quiet. Can you hear what she's saying? Imaginary friend.
Imaginary friend.
No, I was doing an inside whisper to our audience.
You have to be very quiet. It's time was quiet. Never going to do that.
Okay, Darcy, I think it's time to go home and snap me out.
Yes, I think so. Goodbye, everyone.
Good morning. It's Wednesday morning now. And I've got some breakfast going. I'm boiling an egg. Ooh, fancy. I plan to have it on with toast and avocado. So Wednesday, I dropped Darcy off at school. My husband has left for his business trip, so I will be solo parenting for the next 2 nights. At this age, it's fine. I feel like if it was like February, I would be stressed about it because Darcy was having a lot of tantrums in February, but if let's call it growing pains. Lately, she's been a lot better, more manageable. 3.5 is it's been a good age. I say that for every age as we age. Oh, I like this age. I like this age. But anyways, I realized that I haven't shared too much actual knitting. This is a knitting vlog, and I haven't done any of it. So I'm gonna grab my project bag and show you what I've been working on and what I've kind of completed per day. So in my last podcast episode, my April one, I mentioned that I want to try to get my glowworm or my Paul cardigan done for Knit City, Toronto. And I decided to cast on the day after I filmed that podcast episode. So today is Wednesday. It was last Thursday that I cast on this project. And so how you start this cardigan, it is a saddle shoulder. Oh, you know what's perfect? I'm wearing the Paul sweater. It's so this is the sweater pullover version of the cardigan that I'm knitting up right now. Moreca Knit is the designer. It's a saddle shoulder and it extends into the back. You can see there's like a seam in the middle. So what I managed to do on Thursday, because Darcy was at my sister's, I managed to get all of the saddle portion done. So you do a provisional cast on and you work your way, and there's some shaping there to this point. And then same thing for the other side, provisional cast on, do some shaping, and work here, 3 needle bind off to join these two pieces together. So I did all of that on Thursday, I believe, most of it, if not all of it, on Thursday. Side note, if you are knitting the Paul sweater or the Paul cardigan and you're wondering where to pick up your stitches when you do the fronts and the back. So my saddle is 33 stitches across. Look ahead. So depending on how big your saddle is, look ahead to how many stitches have to be picked up for the sleeve, and that's going to help indicate how far to pick up into. So it ends up being like a half stitch on either side. So I'll come back because of the provisional cast on and that direction of the work is this way. When you come back to do the sleeve, you're now working that way. So it's like that little jog to make sure that you're still working in the same direction of the V's, but this way. So it ends up being 32 stitches this way, even though I cast on 33 stitches that way. Hope that makes sense. I'll do a more thorough, in-depth about this in a podcast episode in the future, but that is just something to keep in mind when you're doing things like that, picking up stitches, what is it going to be on the other end, for example. So I did all the saddles on Thursday, and then Friday I worked on the back yoke, as well as Saturday. So I would have worked to the point before the armhole. And then Saturday, I finished the right front. Sunday, I picked up and I was working on the left front. And then Monday, for that knit knots and hops meetup, I pretty much finished the left front while I was there. So I was already maybe about here when I got there on Monday night, and knit to here. There's this marker here. And then last night there was just one more increase row or like set to do. So I did that and then joined all the pieces. So now all the fronts and the back are connected. So that is 6 days, 6 days work. And now I have my markers here in the back. And so pattern says to knit until it's 37 centimeters from the highest point of the shoulder. So I just take that as folding this saddle in half and then measuring from there. But because this is stitches, so this is the knitting is going this way, and then you have rows this way. So you have to, I calculated how far this is based on my stitch gauge, and then how many rows. So subtract that from the 37 centimeters, and then how many more centimeters does that leave, and then calculate based on my row gauge from the body here. And so I've placed markers for every 10 stitches. So I need to work 70 rows. So 70 rows plus the bit here on the shoulder is going to get me to 37 centimeters based on my stitch and my row gauge. Yeah, so I don't have too much farther to go because this one has pretty deep ribbing at the bottom. It's not a cropped cardigan, but it's not, I wouldn't consider it full length. I don't like super long cardigans. At least for this one, I didn't want it to be really long. My Hannah cardigan is a standard, like full length one, but I like that because it's the slouchy look, the oversized look on me, and I like to wear it open. So the plan is to try to get this entire cardigan done by, say, the 14th. I fly out on the 16th. So hopefully like a night and a day to let it wash and block. Hopefully that's enough time. So yeah, that leaves me, well, today's May 1st, so I have exactly 2 weeks from this point to finish this cardigan. I am starting to feel it a bit in my forearms, but hopefully, like I am pushing myself, but I really shouldn't push myself to the point of pain. I don't feel pain. I definitely feel like I've been using my tendons, like they are telling me that I've been using them. So that is my kind of knitting project plan. I will have breakfast, have coffee, and the plan is to sit down and record a video today, which we'll be planning to release maybe next weekend. This isn't something that I'm going to try to release for like this Friday. I tend to release my videos on Fridays, but I need time to edit. So no pressure on myself to do that. And probably won't have any time to edit because then once I finish recording and clean up, eat a snack, and then go pick up Darcy from school. And then it's another day of swim lessons. And yeah, that's how the day is looking. It is a kind of dark, cloudy day. It's not raining though, which is good. And yeah, I don't know what else I was gonna say. Later, maybe tonight, because it's not something I need really good lighting for when Darcy's gone to bed, I'm going to share with you guys my knitting notebook, discuss a little bit about stash, how I keep track of my stash, how I keep track of my projects, and what that looks like inside my notebook itself, and what kind of information I like to note down. Because someone did ask me about they said I seem very organized. So I will share with you guys a bit of that later tonight. So, time to feed myself, nourish myself, and sit down and get a video done. All right, a bit lo-fi because artificial lighting. Darcy's in bed. It's about 9 o'clock. I am absolutely exhausted. I have not knit at all today. I started a crochet project though. While Darcy was we were snuggling and watching TV after dinner, and yeah, just absolutely exhausted after swim class, and I've had a headache since, and it's like borderline migraine, or I can't remember, maybe like tension headache or something is the word, but my teeth hurt and it feels like my eyeball is popping out, so definitely not a good time to sit in front of the computer and edit today's video that I made. So that will just have to wait till maybe tomorrow night, Friday, while Darcy's at school. But as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to briefly discuss about project organization. Of course, my battery's flashing. One moment. Okay, bad headache, not going to do any video editing tonight. I'm just gonna sit and just binge watch some TV while I knit, because I haven't knit yet today. So first, stash. I do keep track of most of my stash in Ravelry. However, strangely enough, I have a lot of my stash memorized, and when I go out to, say, Flock, Knit City, just any kind of yarn thing, when I'm out the shops, I kind of just already know from memory what I already have, and that's how I can kind of stand there and think about what more do I need, what goes with each other. I don't know why. It's not like I'm trying to memorize it, but it's like I know I have 8 balls of Sunday in this color called brick. I know I have 12 balls of it in 9071 Dusty Olive to go with 6 balls of mohair that I purchased for the artisan cardigan, like things like that. I know I have leftover yarn from so-and-so project. So nothing really genius going on there with stash organization or tracking, Ravelry and my memory. Organization, everything's just stuffed in a cabinet. It's overflowing. I have yarn all over my apartment. Yeah, I will admit, I think I have too much yarn right now. I've just been buying, and in a short period of time too, because I didn't make any purchases in January and February, and in March as well. So, projects. So I used to be a monogamous knitter, and then I stopped and I started to have multiple projects. Try to keep it to like 2 projects, but then Whip Mountain has developed and I'll have quite a number of projects now, and some of them have to go into hibernation, and so I try to switch between 2 active projects. So right now, because I'm trying to finish that cardigan for Knit City, I have 1 active project. But if I wasn't trying to meet a deadline, then I would be kind of flipping between like daytime 1 project, nighttime another, or every other day, like switching in the week until both of them are done, or one of them's done, and then a new second project comes in. I'm going to show you my notebook for what I do for all of my projects when I start them. So here's just an example for the Paul cardigan that I'm working on. I put in here, title or name of the design, the designer's name, when I started. So I cast on April 25th, and I'm doing size extra small. I have here the pattern gauge and the size of needles. And then here I'll write my gauge. And then even though my gauge is the same, I write it again just to have a redundancy to just kind of confirm to myself that I got gauge. But also noting here that, so when I swatched, I used 4mm needles. I noticed a bit of rowing out. And because of the longer rows in a cardigan, I'm using 2 different needle sizes to reduce the rowing out. And then I wrote here the actual needles that I'm using. So I'm using bamboo needles because that can affect tension as well. And then I also write down here what yarn amounts I have that I'm starting with, and the colorways and yarn fiber content for them. And then I don't make any notes until there's something kind of noteworthy from the pattern itself. So if I followed a pattern exactly, then there's not going to be a lot of notes. So no notes while I did the saddle shoulders and the back yoke. So first note I have here is about knitting the body after joining the fronts with the back. Knit until 37 centimeters from highest point of shoulder, and that's straight out of the pattern. And then I just have a little schematic here to show that, you know, this distance, well, my light just went brighter on its own. This distance to here is X amount of centimeters, and then subtract that from the 37 total that I need. So then this amount here has to be, it works out to be just about 30 centimeters. So figure that out from my row gauge. And then this is just saying pattern says this 1x1 rib section is knit at 13 centimeters. So whether I do that or not, I don't know, but wrote that here so that I can kind of think about whether I want my total length. So this from that, if I actually want that for my cardigan. And then I will continue to make notes as I go. And then at some point where I get closer to the end is when I'll draw a schematic. So this is the schematic from my test knit for the cognac cardigan from Atelier Caston. I'm hiding this because it's a bunch of numbers and it is in testing. But I essentially copied the schematic from the pattern. It's a very nice schematic. And I added a, you know, one extra measurement of my own. Otherwise, it's all the same from the pattern. And I showed before, so I'll have a column for pre-block, a column for the pattern measurements, a column for my finish measurements, and then something a little extra that I'm going to be doing now is after a few wearers, what is the measurement? Because I find like the stitches to go through kind of like further relaxing after wearing. So I'm just kind of curious to see what the numbers are for that. And yeah, so that's what I do in my project notebook. In terms of actually, if I'm doing something with charts or keeping track of stuff, I do have a tablet. I have a Samsung tablet. It does come with a stylus, and I'll convert any PDF pattern into a note. And so I can, you know, write directly onto here and kind of check off instructions as I go. So probably show too much of the pattern there. Should have shown you, probably should have shown you that part from like a free pattern, but maybe I will blur out some of that. But that's how I organize a project itself. I do use the function on Ravelry to like put in projects there so I can see which ones are whips, which ones are completed. I do have them on there as well. Because I do put away hibernating projects so they're not all out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So nothing super special. Just take lots of notes. I rely heavily on stitch markers and reading my work. Even because I don't always have a notebook with me or I don't always have my tablet. So that's kind of like my default of figuring out where I am in a project usually is just reading my work, reading the stitches, and leaving stitch markers in logical to me places. So that is kind of my organization in a nutshell. Let me know if you have any questions. I can kind of feel like my headache is starting to feel a little bit better, so that's good. So now it's time to just sit and knit. Probably shouldn't stay up too late, but I usually end up doing so when my husband's away because Netflix, the shows just autoplay, right? So I'm gonna leave it there. This is the end of Wednesday. 2 more days left this week. 2 more days left that I plan to record for this vlog. And yeah, no plans for tomorrow. I don't plan activities. It's just kind of wake up and see how Darcy feels. Maybe we'll go out. Maybe we'll hang out close to home. We shall see. But until tomorrow, night, guys. I've done it, guys. Day 4 of this vlog, Thursday night. Darcy is in bed. She's asleep. My husband will be home tomorrow afternoon, but solo parenting is the hard part's done. I'm feeling much better tonight. I don't have a massive headache. I did end up staying up past midnight, even though I had that headache. I was binge watching my show. But so last night, I was talking about my project notes and doing calculation for my Paul cardigan about how many rows to knit. And I got to the point where I should have started the 1x1 ribbing, but I was kind of looking at it and I thought this looks quite short. And yes, the overall length is shorter than the Paul sweater, but something's off. And I was looking at my math, looking at the calculation. I was like, yeah, that times that equals that. Yes, yes, yes. But I based my calculations off of an incorrect number. So the total length that I'm going for is 37 centimeters, minus the little portion of the saddle. And then there's the remaining length. That's where I have my stitch markers. That remaining length, I didn't correctly subtract. So I didn't have the right number that I was working towards, which results in being 7 centimeters short. So a pretty significant amount of length. So luckily, my spidey senses did go off well, not completely. So they did go off last night, so I stopped. And this morning was when I looked over the math and figured it all out. So it ends up being 20 more rows that I need to knit. And will I get to the point of the ribbing tonight? Probably not. I don't know. It is 8:45 right now, so we'll see how much. I don't want to push myself too much. I just want to kind of sit back, relax, enjoy binge watching TV again, and we'll see. But I am nearing the end of the first skeins of yarn. This is what I have left. I haven't measured, haven't weighed it or anything like that. I don't know, will that be enough for the ribbing as well? I don't know. Am I gonna be playing yarn chicken? Potentially, because I'm really, really kind of banking on that there might be a 5. So in patterns, when they give you suggested yarn amounts, designers may have anywhere from like a 5 to 10% overage just to cover things like that. I'm kind of hoping that it's on the larger end of that percentage because I didn't feel like buying more skeins. Well, actually, there were only 3 skeins available of this citron color that I bought, the fingering weight. There were only 3 skeins available from Wool Warehouse is where I purchased from. So I could technically buy more if I run out, but it wouldn't come in time to finish for Knit City, and it would be a different dye lot most likely. So we shall see. I will definitely harvest from my swatch if it comes down to that. Or I will just have to, I don't know, make the sleeves a little bit shorter or something. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Knitting wise, I have not done, I think I did 3 rows today while Darcy was watching TV. That's all I've done. Since all this week, I haven't done any daytime knitting. It's all been at night. Also, while Darcy was watching some TV, I did some video editing, and I will continue that tomorrow. Hopefully finish it all tomorrow while Darcy's at school, and then next week we'll be working on editing this vlog, because the video that I've already recorded, I want that to be released next week while I'm gone camping, and this vlog to be released while I'm at Knit City, so that when I come back I don't have to worry about anything, just worry about the next podcast episode and whether I do a separate Knit City video or a podcast episode. I'll like put Knit City into one, not sure. But I am ready to sit down, have a snack, maybe have a beer. I don't know. Kind of feeling like, because I don't have a headache, I'd be up for a beer. And the cat's looking at me, looking for their nighttime snacks. So I am going to sign off for the night, and tomorrow hopefully summarize what happened this past week. But I hope so far you've been enjoying just a little bit of a window into a week of my life. Okay. Bye-bye. Good morning and happy Friday, guys. Day 5, final day of my vlogging for this week. So I've dropped Darcy off at school, and the plan now is to sit. It's 9:20. Sit for about 45 minutes-ish. Finish off editing my video, and hopefully that's enough time. We'll see. It always ends up being a little bit longer because I do want some time to kind of sit and knit a little bit. So what I've decided for my Paul cardigan, because I'm nearing the end of the first skein and it's going to finish before I hit the ribbing, I'd like to just work the rest of it and stop, put the stitches on hold, and proceed to pick up stitches to work the sleeves. And because I'm getting a little bit concerned about yarn chicken, so I'm going to work the sleeves to the point about maybe a couple centimeters before the ribbing, so there would still be some stockinette left to do, and then go back and do the double knit button band and the neckline and see how much I have left, and then do the ribbing on the sleeves and the body, because I do like the look of the really long ribbing, but I do want to try to match the length of ribbing on the sleeves and the body. I do want that to be as close as possible. Maybe like slightly shorter on the body, for example, and like 1 centimeter longer on the sleeves, or something like that, to ensure that I get as close to look as I want and make sure my sleeves are long enough as well. And I was looking at the amount of yarn required for the Paul sweater, and I knit a size 3 for that, and comparing these extra small cardigans to my Paul sweater. This cardigan is smaller than my Paul sweater, but it has a double knit button band to do. And for the Paul sweater, I used less than 1,200 meters of yarn, and that's what I have. Even though the Paul cardigan, my size, calls for about 1,400 meters, of yarn. So I'm working with 200 meters less than the suggested or recommended amount based on the suggested yarn as well. So yarn quantities on this pattern are noted in full skeins. So it says 400 grams of the 50 gram skeins of whatever yarn it is. So anyway, that is what I'm working with. If I lose yarn chicken, then I lose yarn chicken. I don't have this cardigan to wear for Knit City. And so I guess, yeah, that would be too bad. I do have my test knit, my cognate cardigan that is done and just needs buttons sewn on. So that is something that I could bring along as well. I was just trying to avoid bringing too many cardigans, too many sweaters, because I'm just traveling with carry-on. But so that is the plan while Darcy's at school, and then I'll pick her up, stay and play at the park for a bit, and then hopefully my husband will be home by then. Yeah, and it's Friday, so, and it's sunny out. So good start to the day. So I'm going to sign off now, guys, and I will check in with you guys later and let you know at the end how much I was able to knit up. I'll show you on my Paul cardigan and if I actually finish editing this video today. Good morning, guys. It is Saturday morning, so that brings us to the end of this vlog. I wanted to do a quick recap of what I was able to knit and work on with respect to YouTube content. So, where we started was for my Paul cardigan. That's the only knitting project I've worked on this week because that is something I'm trying to get done for Knit City, which is, so today is the 4th. May the 4th be with you. I fly out on the 16th. So for my Paul cardigan, I had the back yoke done and the right front. And so since like this whole week, I was able to complete the left front, join the fronts to the back, and then work the body almost very nearly to the point where the 1x1 ribbing would start on the body. And now I have picked up and knit portion of the right sleeve. So here it is. I still have the stitches live on the body. And there we go. And then the sleeve short rows have been done, and now I'm just working around, working on the decreases. I've already done 2 decrease rounds, and I believe there is a total of 8 decrease rounds for my size, and then move on to the ribbing. So I estimate, so because I was kind of solo parenting for a couple of the days, I didn't really get much daytime knitting in at all this week. But I estimate it's probably like 8 to 9 hours of like sit down knit time. I wouldn't say I was knitting like this the whole time. So, you know, kind of like a casual, normal pace for me knitting wise. And then in terms of creating content, this week I did film 1 video while Darcy was at school, and then yesterday, Friday, I ended up taking most of the time while she was at school to edit that video, and now it's done, and it's uploaded to YouTube, ready to be released. I've scheduled it for next week. So that was probably like, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours worth of work this week for that video, like prepping it, the information, actually sitting down to record it, you know, transferring photos, video to my computer, sitting down at the computer, things like that. So that's like, I guess 11 hours, I guess, this week I was, you know, working. I say that because, so when I tell my husband I have to do some work, he's like, but it's your hobby. But I do make some income from it, so I do kind of call it as work, but it doesn't have to, for me, it's not a negative connotation to it because it is like my hobby, so I do like it, but it is, Yeah, I call it work. My knitting work. But yeah, so it's Saturday. It's not the weekend. I'm gonna close this out and now enjoy the weekend with my family because my husband is back from his business trip. We've got new family things planned. Darcy's got ballet this weekend as well. So yeah, hopefully it's not too rainy, but we had a beautiful sunny week and now we're back into some rainy weather, but that is all right. I think that'll help me focus and sit down and work some more on the Paul cardigan. But I'm cautiously optimistic that I can get it done. If I can get a sleeve done this weekend or maybe by Monday, I think I'll be feeling even more optimistic. So thank you so much for spending this week with me, and I hope you enjoyed just a little bit of a window into my life as a stay-at-home mom, a knitter, a YouTuber. So until next time, guys, happy knitting. Bye.